Here's an interesting one. It's the new MG Cyberster. And I mean interesting because I'm interested to know who would buy this. I don't mean that as a complete negative thing either. I'm genuinely asking who would buy this, because MG has so far been known as a budget brand. You know, it's good for value focused models. Not saying that they're bad. A lot of them are actually quite reasonable and well priced. This is $115,000, which is quite a bit. You could buy a manual Toyota Supra for that sort of money and still have leftover change for a big European holiday. You could buy a BMW Z4, you could buy a Nissan Z, you could buy even getting close to a BMW M2. However, this is an excellent model for MG because it draws people into the showroom and it shows that they are serious about building not just budget cars, but all vehicles. Even though this might not sell very well, the next one might, and they might be able to bring down the cost as well. I don't think many people will argue that this does look really good. Like if you walk past an MG dealership and see one of these in the front window, you're going to be drawn in. You're going to think, what's that? And especially if you don't know what MG, the brand is, you're going to go, that looks like a cool car. I want a mid-size SUV with that badge on it. Around at the back, you've got a bit of Ferrari and Lamborghini going on, but not necessarily copying, just very edgy and aggressive. Fin diffuser down below and a long tail. Integrated little lip spoiler there as well. I think it looks really cool and distinctive. It doesn't look like anything else, but you immediately know this is a pretty serious sports car. About the only element that kind of lets it down are these wheels, 20-inch wheels, two 45/40s on the front, and then two 75/35s on the back on a 20-inch wheel. There's nothing really wrong with the wheels. They just, I don't know, they just don't look as aggressive and as out there as the rest of the design. Big Brembo brakes there, although they're not floating discs, which is a little bit disappointing for this sort of price and this sort of speed. I'll get to the powertrain in a second. And then you've just got single piston calipers on the back, which is, again, not that, I don't know, not that hardcore for something that does, or a claimed 0 to 100 of 3.2 seconds. So this features two electric motors powered by a 77 kilowatt hour battery. Combined, you've got 375 kilowatts. That makes it the most powerful and quickest MG ever. The official range is around 450 kilometers, which is not bad for a weekender style of sports car like this. And then the party piece, of course, scissor doors. You do have to actually stand back a bit, otherwise the sensors go off and think that you're in the way. Very nice interior as well. I like this color scheme. It's got this kind of maroon and black going on. Very soft suede style of trim there. And then I probably prefer a black steering wheel because that's eventually going to get dirty. But then yeah, this wraparound digital screen with three separate screens. Buttons down here to operate the doors, which is cool. You kind of just get in and just forget about it, then just hit the button. The door will drop down for you. Not great if you're in a bit of a rush because you've got to wait for it to fully load before it will allow you to engage drive. Makes sense, but yeah, just be a little bit better if it was a tiny bit quicker, I guess. But that's just the price you pay for a bit of theatre and drama. And then down on the steering wheel, you've got MG's typical layout. It's a little bit confusing at first, like this is for the media, up and down, volume, and then track skip. And you can change the screen layout if you want to. Information there on the right-hand side, live tire pressure monitoring. And this screen on the side is more about your driving information. You can go through and check your battery level and your charging and all of that. And then I love the way you can just swipe down from the top and you can turn the brightness down and access the main features. But even with that brightness all the way down, you can see there that it's still lit up. And at night time, it's too bright, in my opinion. And the screen down here is also too bright. So you're driving along and it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old, but I just hate all lights on the dash facing me at night time. I want it to be dark, just see the speed and, you know, maybe the audio or whatever, climate control, just very dim. But yeah, it's still too bright in my opinion, but it is good to have the access right there. You don't have to go digging around in, well, multiple screens. This screen down here, you can adjust everything from your driving modes and all of that. MG Pilot, so you can turn off your lane keep assist and all that sort of stuff. And then you've also got your climate control down here as well. Just hit this button on the side. It seems a bit complex to start with, but once you get used to what screen does what, like down here I know that that's the climate. But when I first got in, I was like, how do I adjust the climate control? I just had to figure out that it's down on that one, you only go there. And then the driving settings over on this little one on the side here. So once you know where everything is, it's actually fairly practical. I'm just not a huge fan of these steering wheel buttons. They're a little bit confusing. Fit and finish feels really good. I like the material quality everywhere. There's not many scratchy plastics used throughout. Even these switches, they feel like proper metal and all that sort of thing. Yeah, and it does feel like a high-end vehicle. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm in a little cheap sports car. Like, this feels like I'm in a $100,000 car, basically, in terms of design and material choice. We'll check out the boots. So you've just got to wait for that to pop up. I'm not sure if I could get used to that. It's just, I don't know. It's too dramatic. Every time you get out at the shops or whatever, everyone's looking at you because your doors are popping up, which is great if you're in a Lamborghini, I guess, but I don't know. Then you've got a bit of a shallow boot at the back here. It does go quite far forward, but yeah, it's not going to be suitable for much more than a weekend getaway. There's nothing under the floor either, just a tyre repair kit. And then, interestingly, there's nothing under the bonnet as well. It's all just covered up. You've got some access to certain maintenance features, and that's about it. So we'll take it for a drive. I'll run the first bit of the drive with the roof down just to show you what it's like to drive an open-top sports car if you haven't driven one before. And I'll leave my microphone going so it doesn't get too much of the wind noise. And then I'll put the roof up and test it a bit more aggressively, I guess, to see how it handles and see how it goes. And then we'll do the performance test. There is a bit of fake sound coming through the speakers, which I think is actually pretty good in a vehicle like this, because otherwise it's just totally silent. And it's just this kind of bassy undertone and that's it. It's not, you know, trying to sound like a V8 or something. It's just this little bit of a noise to know, or let you know what you're doing with the pedal and let you know that you're moving along, I guess. With the roof down though, yeah, it feels like a sports car. It's pleasurable to drive. It's a bit entertaining just driving normal. It's got a bit of a grand touring feel to it. Visibility is very good. I'm sitting low as low as the seat goes. I'd like it to go even lower, but I suspect the battery is in the way. But it's giving me a great view over the front. Like, I can almost see where the front wheels are. It's like a go-kart almost. So it is good in that respect, but yeah, I'd just like to be a little bit more hunkered down. Hopefully the sound is coming through okay. I'm guessing you're just picking up my voice and that's it. But I'll put the roof up and go back to just the GoPro audio. That's what I usually do for in-car stuff. And that way it picks up all the different sounds and so on. Down on the steering wheel here, we've got this button called Super Sport. Everyone loves a good Super Sport. And that gives you maximum power and everything. Or maximum response, sorry. But this doesn't feature adaptive dampers, which I think is a big miss in a vehicle like this, especially one that's quite heavy. This is almost 2,000 kilograms. So it's quite heavy for this style of vehicle, and then it's got 375 kilowatts. So it needs to be harnessed quite well, in my opinion. But this, without adaptive dampers, it's not quite right. I'll push it a bit harder in a minute and show you what I mean, but there's a bit of sort of seesawing going on. It sort of bobbles up and down, rocking back and forward a lot. I think it needs better dampers, or firmer dampers, more responsive dampers to catch the body movements quicker, whereas this is allowing too much movement to happen. But it's not overly soft. The actual ride comfort is okay. Like, it feels kind of taut and sporty. It's just when you get some ripples and bumps, you get this sort of bobbling up and down and sort of, yeah, seesawing, I think is the best way to describe it. But yeah, anyway, as a general vehicle, as a general, you know, touring vehicle, it's fun. It's kind of exciting knowing you've got that much power. I'll just give it some, but I'll close the roof in a minute so you can hear it, but I'll just give it some now. Definitely smacks you back in the seat and goes really well. And then you've got that, yeah, fake sound just to sort of amplify your experience a little bit. So I'll put the roof up now and we'll jump to the GoPro audio. As you might be able to tell, but the camera is sitting on top of my forehead kind of thing. So it's a little bit higher than my head, but my head's actually getting pretty close to that and this pillar. So if I was really tall, I think you'd struggle to fit in here. I can slide the seat back further, so that is good. But as I said, like it needs to go down further, in my opinion. Okay, back down with the roof up now. You do have a number of different drive modes as well down here on your main panel: comfort, sport, and custom. You've got a launch mode, which we'll test out later on the private road, but the custom mode, you can configure the power, and the steering just changes the feel of the steering, doesn't actually change the fundamentals, and that's it. Then you've got your one pedal driving. I've got the ESC turned off, so we'll give it a bit of a crack and see what it's like. It's just starting to sprinkle rain actually, so perfect timing. Yeah, so the front end's bobbling about quite a bit, and I'm not even pushing it that hard. I'm not comparing this to a Porsche 911, I'm comparing it to basically any vehicle, like the balance of it. So the acceleration of this gets you up to speed so quickly, so it needs to be able to handle doing that. And this feels like it's, yeah, just let down a little bit with the suspension. You can also hear some creaks and rattles going on with the roof up, as per usual with roadsters and things, because it's got a removable roof. There's just an amount of flex that has to that's opened up, I guess. But yeah, the roof's rattling a little bit and creaking, and the doors and the windows a little bit. It's probably more pronounced because this is a quiet, electric vehicle, so I can hear everything. Yeah, it's definitely responsive and feels fast. The nose is raising up there as I'm applying the power. It's not going to oversteer, I don't think. You might be able to do it on a track, but I can't do it on a little narrow road like this. It's four-wheel drive, obviously. Yeah, so down through here, it's bumping around quite a bit. I don't feel completely confident that the back wheels are going to stay on the ground. And I'm not comparing it to a Porsche 911. I'm comparing it to other sports cars, or even any car. Like if you take a Toyota Hilux down here, it's not going to be able to get you up to speed to cause any problems, whereas this can get you up to speed pretty quickly, so it needs to be able to handle that. If you take a Mazda MX-5 down here, it's well balanced, whereas this has definitely got a lot more power than what around that was weird. It was kind of this diagonal pogoing around. Yeah, this has got so much power that I just think it needs better suspension to handle that power. It doesn't need to be crazy, but just better than what this is. For $115,000, I'd expect adaptive dampers would be the best way to fix this, I think. Plenty of traction though, that was almost full power, and it's just gripping up. I've got the stability control off, remember? Yeah, so it's handling pretty good. There's no understeer really, it's not pushing wide, even around this awkward double apex corner. Yeah, it's definitely a quick package, and it's got good foundations. I'd be interested to see where they go with, Cyberster 2.0 basically, because I think they'll knock off the price maybe and fit some just more suitable suspension for this style of car. Like, I'm not being unreasonable for expecting this vehicle to do sports car kind of stuff. I just I know that other vehicles that are in this sort of class can handle themselves better than this, or more balanced than this. But anyway, it's a good first attempt, and it's great for MG's showroom. It's just I just don't know who would buy this. Like, electric vehicles I think made up about 10% of all new vehicle sales in 2024 in Australia. So then you got to slice that down to who's after a convertible version. It's a very, very small market, but again, great for MG, and good on MG for doing something a little bit different and showing that it does have a bit of a sports car heritage there.